Plants vs. Zombies is a very interesting tower defense game, and I thought it would be a fun idea to use one team of Pokemon based on plants and the other team of Pokemon based on zombies. This ended up being really agonizing. If you have an idea for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment below, and I will use it. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Now let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using a Plants vs. Zombies team. Holy smokes, these teams. So, special thank you to Honeyjacks for suggesting this team idea, first of all. I'm actually doing this team, for their birthday, so, happy birthday. So anyway, this team, so this first team is obviously the team of plants, and yeah, this team was, really weak to fire, and on top of that, this was like a sun team. So I'm facing off against a really interesting team. So they have this lead in Didi. They actually tanked the knockoff really well, which led me to believe that they were like a more defensive in Didi. I'll explain more about that Bellsprout set in a moment. So into my Amoonguss, this Pokemon was really bad into this matchup, but I do have an eject button on this, and I do have max special defense, so I wanted to use up my eject button and bring in my Diglett. So this, obviously, Potato Mine is like super perfect for Diglett, so I'm running a Focus Sash on this, and I thought, well, I could get up rocks here because I'm running Stealth Rocks on this, but I thought, you know, I really need to chip this Pokemon down as much as I possibly can. They couldn't switch out either because I have Arena Trap, so I'm just gonna get taken out there. But that Diglett also ended up having a sunny day, which I needed for Pokemon like this on my team. So this is Jalapeno for Scovillain. You know, I'm a Jalapeno business, right? And this is like this is the best Pokemon on my team, and it's a Scovillain, and Scovillain is only good in Sun. Yeah, this team took a lot of battles. This was such a rough team, I'm telling you. So the Hisuian Braviary comes in. I actually have I have Terra Blast Rock on this set, which is going to hit for a lot of damage versus this thing, and it's going to end up taking it out. I'm running a max special attack on Modest Nature Scovillain with Chlorophyll, and I have Heavy Duty Boots on this so I don't take hazard damage. So in comes the Malamar. Like, I knew Superpower was 100% incoming, so I'm gonna bring in my Fortress here for the Walnut. It's literally like a Pokemon that walls, and it kind of looks like a nut. So this is a really interesting Fortress. I had, so like I said, this team is a Sun team, and I had a lot of Pokemon to help set up the Sun for a lot of my Sun Sweepers in the back, like my Chlorophyll Scovillain, and Bellsprout also has Chlorophyll, and so this Fortress is running a Heat Rock on it, so I can have the max turns of Sun available to me. And I'm running the max special attack Fortress as well with a Steel Beam, and I also have a Volt Switch and Rapid Spin on that set as well. So into my Sunflora here for the Sunflower. Now this was originally a Solar Power Quick Claw Sunflora, which was terrible, so I decided to pivot into like a Choice Scarf Chlorophyll Sunflora. And the Solar Beam doesn't really do as much, which leads me to believe that this thing is probably like Assault Vest, or maybe like more specially defensive, but I wanted to chip it down as much as possible so that my my Scovillain can come in and revenge KO it with the Fire Blast. Thankfully, Fire Blast lands. Oh my goodness. That Sunflora, by the way, it has Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam with like the Sun Up and Chlorophyll and the Choice Scarf. It can actually like outspeed Dragon Ball and KO it with Dazzling Gleam. Amazing. So I'm gonna take out the Indeedee with the Energy Ball, and they're gonna bring out the Gallade next. So yeah, this was tough because Gallade has a lot of good naturally, obviously it has naturally really good special defense, but I really didn't have much to switch into this thing. And maybe in hindsight, I should have sacrificed my Amoonguss here because Amoonguss is weak to all of their Pokemon in the back, but really, I wanted to weaken this Pokemon down as much as possible so that my my Bellsprout could like KO this, because I'm running a fully physical Bellsprout on this. So I'm gonna go for the Poison Jab, and I'm gonna take out the Gallade. This is like a fully physical Bellsprout. This has a Poison Jab, Power Whip. I have Terra Blast Ice on this because, you know, there's the Ice variant of the Pea Shooters, and I have a knockoff on this. So I'm gonna do some good damage to the Reuniclus, but the Reuniclus is gonna set up the Trick Room on me. So I was like, well, that's unfortunate, but like hopefully Power Whip is gonna be enough to take out this Reuniclus. It might be more defensive. So I'm running a Focus Sash on this Bellsprout because it's really frail. I originally had a Life Orb on this, which yeah, that was really terrible. So I'm gonna go for the power up. Unfortunately, Reuniclus just lives. No, and they're gonna be able to take me out with the expanding force. So my last Pokemon is the Amoonguss. Now this is a very specially defensive Amoonguss for the Fume Shroom. This also has Sunny Day. This is actually not really a good set. I have Synthesis, I have Toxic, and Foul Play. I take the Expanding Force, and I'm going to be able to take it out with the Foul Play. So I was like, okay, that's good. But they have a, obviously their whole team is Psychic types, and they have a Hatterene, which I had no chance of beating. But seriously, this was the best battle that I had with this team. So yeah, this team was really rough, but hopefully the zombie team could do better in this next battle. So that's the end of this first game. Into the second game. Now, this team was crazy. Also, my opponent's team in this battle was actually really, really interesting as well. And, you know, I was really surprised to see this type of team on Wi-Fi. So they're going to lead Chinchou. I have this lead Galarian Slowking here for the zombie, of course, because Galarian's Slowking is like the best like kind of zombified Pokemon. Parasect isn't in this game, unfortunately, so I had to go with Galarian Slowking. So I'm gonna set up the Trick Room. This is a physical Galarian Slowking. So the Chinchou ends up paralyzing me, and they try to confuse me, but I have O Tempo on this Slowking. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go for another Earthquake and actually take the critical hit Earthquake. I was like, dang, this thing is super bulky, but it's gonna end up taking it out next to the crit. So I was like, okay, that's good. That was definitely like a more bulky Chinchou. So this is a Belly Drum Galarian Slowking. I decided to go for it now because I kind of figured that, you know, Manaphy doesn't really have much to threaten me. So on this set, I have Trick Room, I have Gunk Shot, Earthquake, and Belly Drum with the Citrus Berry. So I'm gonna go for the Gunk Shot. The Manaphy sets up the Tail Glow, probably anticipated that they would live a Gunk Shot, but not a +6 Gunk Shot. So it comes the Volbeat. Now this was threatening. So they're gonna go for the Tail Glow here. I'm gonna end up getting paralyzed, unfortunately. So I was like, you know what? I hit a Gunk Shot through paralysis. It only makes sense. So now the Volbeat is gonna set up a second Tail Glow. So now they're at +6 special attack. So I'm gonna go for the Gunk Shot on this, and it ends up having a Focus Sash. So I was like, okay, well, that was basically the only way that they would live that, right? So they're gonna go for the Bug Buzz. That's easily gonna take me out at +6. So I was like, shoot, this Pokemon is really threatening, and my Trick Room ran out. So I have this Slowking here, another Slowking, for the Screen Door, because this has Light Screen, and this is Max Special Defense, which was basically the only reason why I lived the +6 Bug Buzz. Seriously, if I didn't have that Slowking, I would have gotten swept by a Volbeat, and if I got swept by a Volbeat, then I was honestly just gonna give this team up entirely. You would not have seen this video. So, into my Digger Zombie here, another Galarian Slowking. So, yes, this team is just fixed Galarian Slowking for the zombies, and as you can imagine, this was absolutely, somehow this ended up getting way more battles than the Plants team, just because I had 6 of the same Pokemon, and I restricted myself because of the zombie species, right? Like this Slowking has a Power Herb Dig for the Digger Zombie. It's so bad. I have a Curse on this with like Zen Headbutt and like Thunder Punch, and the freaking Ampharos ends up having Throat Spray Growl, so my attack got lowered by that. It's so bad, but that's a really interesting set, honestly. So, into my Balloon Zombie here, and I'm floating on my air balloon. Ooh. So, the Ampharos is going to continuously go for Discharge. It's actually doing a lot of damage to me, and I'm going to end up going for a Sludge Wave. This is an all-out offensive Slowking. I have Sludge Wave, Ice Beam, Grass Knot, and Fire Blast on this set, with Terra Flying as well, because it has the balloons. So in comes the Lantern. They're actually going to end up going for the Curse. So I was like, okay, it's a physical Lantern. That's interesting. Yeah, this team was really, really rough, by the way. Like, rather than me complaining about how bad of a matchup I had, I'm just going to put all of the Pokemon that either, like, swept me or, like, just absolutely destroyed me. Ready? Boom. There it is. There's your whole list. You can pause if you want to read it. So the Lantern ends up terrestrializing into a Dark type, and I was like, ooh, that's actually pretty rough. They're actually going to end up having Terra Dark Sucker Punch as well. Now, I was like, okay, well, that's easily going to be enough to take me out because it's at +1 attack, and they actually had a White Herb to get rid of their speed drop. So I'm going to go into my target zombie now. Now, this Galarian Slowking ended up having a trick with the ring target. So I thought, this is really good to trick the ring target, because my last Slowking on this team, which is for Dr. Zomboss, is its only attacking move is a psychic move. I have Iron Defense, Calm Mind, stored power on that with like Slack Off as recovery, and that was like a max defense Galarian Slowking. So I'm gonna set up my psychic terrain. This is good because it stops the Lantern from going for Sucker Punch, and I also have an Expanding Force on that. So this turn I thought, well, I'm gonna sacrifice my especially defensive Galarian Slowking just because the last two Pokemon, they don't really seem to like threaten me much. I have a light screen on that, like I said, and that Galarian Slowking was like the only one with Chilly Reception. That had like Trick Room and Sludge Bomb as well. So the Lantern is gonna go for another Curse. I was like, okay, well, I probably would, it would have probably been really close if I lived another Liquidation, but I'm gonna go for the Expanding Force and easily take out the Lantern. I didn't have a Focus Blast on that set, but I didn't want to risk missing. So the last Pokemon is the Illumise. Their entire team was like Pokemon that have like a glowing body part, which is interesting. I wasn't sure if this Illumise was a Tinted Lens Bug Buzz, which is what I run in the past, but that's gonna be the end of both games. Seriously, this was the best battle that I had with this team. I must have had like 20-30 battles with this team, and none of them were close. I'm so done with this team. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.